So I want you to think about this concept of the word function, functionality, function. We have language functions in our lives, whether you knew they had labels or not. Certain kinds of language functions in a very specific way. So let's talk about this a minute. Have you guys seen that book, Avenues? Some of you have probably seen it a lot. It's a book we use in North Carolina. Let's think about language arts. And there's a word up there that's italicized, the word persuade. So the word persuade is italicized because I want you to think of it as a language function. Okay? So when you're persuading someone, you use a very specific kind of language. Let's connect it quickly to the WIDA concept that the social context of the situation also shapes the language. So I think about how I would talk to my brother, who is 7 years older than I am, and he's an engineer. Did you get that? He is an engineer in a box. Total nerd. I love him. He's great. So if I were trying to persuade my brother to take the garbage out for me or let me borrow the car and not tell my parents, I would use a certain kind of language, right? Come on, man. That language would be totally different if I was trying to persuade my math teacher, Mr. Corpenning, to give me a few extra days on my homework assignment. I don't think I would say, come on, man, to Mr. Corpenning. Maybe, maybe not. So I want you to think about that. And I also want you to take it to the next step and think about the content-specific language that goes along with persuasion. So in language arts, we're talking about something in language arts. And I want you to look at these points. So I think students need to know this is what you want to hear and see. It's okay to, you know what, here's the coolest part. It's really okay to tell them what you want them to do. Greatest aspect, greatest magical tool you ever will have. Just tell them. They will do it most of the time. Based on the evidence in the story so far, we believe blah, blah, blah. And there's another magical word in there, because. When you add in the word because, it forces them to do what? Explain. They have to keep giving you more language. So this helps them build a house. You didn't say, give me a word or 2 words. Give me some bricks, people, about the story. And they might, raise their hand and go, it's cool. It's scary. And that's where they stop, right? If you want them to build a house, you tell them you're going to build this house. And here's how we do this. So this is very language arts specific. However, some of this could also connect to persuasion if you're having some kind of a debate in social studies class. Okay? So here we go. We're blending into that tier 2 concept. Different language function here. We're switching gears from persuade to what? Cause and effect. Now we've changed classes. We had 5 minutes. We kissed our boyfriend and we went to the next class. Did you guys totally do that in school? Behind the locker? I believe that one reason, he's laughing. He's like, yeah, I did that. Too much information. I totally kissed my girlfriend. So I believe that one reason for their blank was blank. And you get this. There were political, social, and cultural motives for. And some of the English learners and some of the native speakers of English in your classroom might need these shaping tools to help them get to that content-specific stuff with cause and effect. Oh gosh. Now this one I didn't italicize the language function because I'm scaffolding, we're moving up. Anybody want to guess? Sequence! Yeah, sequence is a language function. And when you sequence something, you should hear words like first, next, then, finally. Context of science, which is totally different than sequencing the steps in a literature section, right? Or the parts of a story.